Okay, so imagine picking up a brand new novel, right? Set firmly in today's world. Texts, emails, all that. But then you find out the whole story, the entire thing, unfolds through letters.
Mm.
And not just any letters. They're from this really sharp 73-year-old woman, and she's dealing with a whole life's worth of stuff, secrets, regrets, things left unsaid.
That sounds, well, definitely intriguing. Almost old-fashioned in a way.
Exactly. It feels wonderfully, maybe even defiantly old school. But here's the thing we found really interesting. What if that very format, the letters, is what makes Virginia Evans's debut novel, The Correspondent, feel so powerful so now?
It's a great hook. And honestly, based on the reviews and interviews we looked at, people are really responding to it. They're calling it a gem, unputdownable.
Yeah.
It really suggests the format is working, not just as a gimmick, but fundamentally.
Right. So how does this old format feel so current? We've really immersed ourselves in what people are saying, the author's take, the summaries. And it's clear there's more going on than just the plot. So our deep dive today, we're going to unpack the layers of this character, Sybil Van Antwerp, explore how this epistolary style works its magic. And we'll also touch on Virginia Evans's own journey to getting this book out there, which is pretty inspiring stuff.
Sounds good.
By the end, we think you'll really get why telling a story through letters can still be so resonant today.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get into the heart of it. Sybil Van Antwerp, she's the anchor of this whole thing.
Definitely.
73, retired lawyer, mother, grandmother, lives alone. Sounds straightforward enough, maybe?
Yeah, on the surface, but that description, it barely scratches the surface, really. Reviewers keep highlighting her contradictions, like she's equal parts peevish, good-natured, cautious, and bold, all at once.
Huh, quite a mix.
Totally. She's clearly incredibly smart, sharp, but also stubborn, really set in her ways.
You get the feeling she's lived a very full life, but maybe kept parts of it very tightly controlled, even from herself.
That's a perfect way to put it. And her way of controlling or maybe processing is through writing. It's fundamental to her. It's not just about sending notes. It's how she thinks, how she makes sense of her world, her feelings. She's meticulous about it.
So who is she writing to?
Oh, all sorts. There's her brother. You can feel the exasperation there. Her childhood best friend. Formal letters, like to the university president. And then my favorite part, these incredibly detailed, often critical letters she sends to famous authors. Joan Didion, Mary McMurtry.
Seriously, like fan mail, but critical.
Exactly. Not just, oh, I loved your book. More like, here's what I thought, and here's where you maybe missed the mark. It's pure Sybil, unvarnished opinions, intellectual sparring almost.
Yeah. Okay.
But then there are these other letters, the most poignant ones, really. They're unsent.
Yeah.
And as you read, you figure out they're addressed to Colt, deeply personal confessions. Yeah, who turns out to be her deceased son. So these letters, this whole range of correspondence, it's not just telling the story, it is her inner life laid bare. Her wit, her regrets, her grief, it's all there.
So writing letters is her lifelong habit. But it's at 73, right, when you might think things are settling down, that these letters actually spark something big for her, a transformation.
Absolutely. It's not like a gentle shift either. The author calls it a kind of rebirth, which is pretty dramatic language for someone in their 70s.
Yeah.
Sybil herself talks about the winter season of her life, and it's in this season that this profound and unexpected change happens.
What kicks it off is something she writes.
Actually, it's triggered by letters she receives, unexpected ones.
Okay.
And these aren't just, catching up notes. They force her, really force her, to finally confront this incredibly painful past, something she's kept locked away for decades.
So the letters become the catalyst.
Precisely. It's a powerful reminder, isn't it? That it's never too late to face things, to change, to grow. The correspondence isn't just a record, it's the engine driving this huge shift in her later life.
And the way we experience this is through that format, the epistolary style. Almost all letters, you said, and some emails.
Right.
Virginia Evans used this great metaphor, didn't she? Something about a puzzle.
Yeah, she said, the book is really about this era of her life. It's like a puzzle and every letter is a piece. Which is perfect because reading it feels, well, kind of voyeuristic, actually. You get this real intimacy.
Like you're peeking over her shoulder.
Exactly. Peeking into her private thoughts, seeing how she presents herself differently to different people. It's fascinating.
It feels like finding a box of old letters in the attic, almost. Each one a little snapshot.
Totally. And Evans talked about her own inspirations for this. Classics like 84 Charing Cross Road, the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society.
I love those.
Me too. And she mentioned appreciating how they felt light and easy to read, but at the same time, you just couldn't put them down.
Yeah, they pull you in.
Right. And that balance, accessible but deep, that's what she was aiming for in The Correspondent. And I think she really nails it. You feel it right away.
But it's more than just a clever structure, isn't it?
I
It serves a
agree.
real purpose in how the story unfolds.
Oh, absolutely. It's deeply functional because you have this incredible range of correspondence, right? From the stiff, formal letters to those raw, unsent
That was
notes.
cult.
To Colt, exactly. Through all of that, Evans just masterfully reveals Sybil. Her opinions, her regrets, the deep, deep wells of her grief. It happens organically. You feel like you're discovering it with her almost.
So you're not just being told about her character, you're seeing it in action through her own words.
Precisely. You, the reader, you're actively piecing it together. It's not spoon-fed. You're connecting the dots between, say, a letter to her brother and an unsent letter to Colt.
Makes sense.
You see the public face she puts on, and then you see the private vulnerability. That active role you play as a reader makes it way more immersive, I think, than a more traditional narrative might be. It feels personal.
Okay, so this transformation, this rebirth for Sybil, sounds like it's deeply connected to facing her past. What are the big themes Evans is tackling here? You mentioned grief, obviously, but also guilt.
Yeah, big time. The novel really digs into confronting trauma, both past and present, that heavy burden of lingering grief, and also the really difficult journey of seeking forgiveness and maybe even receiving it.
How did the letters show that, though, rather than just stating it?
Well, take forgiveness. It's not just talked about as a theme. You see Sybil struggling with it in real time, especially in those incredibly raw, unsent letters to Colt, her son.
Right.
We are right there with her as she grapples with these huge universal things. The emotional core of the whole book really revolves around this mystery that slowly gets unpacked. Who is Colt?
And we find out.
We find out Colt was her son, Gilbert, and he died tragically young, at 8 years old.
Oh, wow. Only 8.
Yeah, and the truly devastating part, the thing that shapes Sybil completely, is that she feels responsible, profoundly responsible. She apparently urged him to dive into water without looking first.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So that one moment, that single event, it just casts this incredibly long, dark shadow over her entire life. It affects everything she does, every relationship, for decades.
That central tragedy.
Mm.
It must just ripple outwards, affecting everyone close to her, like her daughter Fiona and her ex-husband Dean.
Absolutely devastatingly. You really see how that unresolved grief, that pain she carries, has fractured those relationships. Fiona has a mother who's often emotionally walled off, critical, hard to reach. She's constantly feeling the effects of that unspoken family trauma.
Hmm.
And Dane, the ex-husband, he carries his own version of that loss, of course. It creates this huge gulf between them. It feels almost impossible to bridge.
And does this grief affect her professionally, too? Or her past actions?
Evans hints at that, yeah. She shows how the weight of Sybil's grief and the guilt tied to it might have fueled some harsh decisions in the past. Like, there's mention of a particularly severe sentence she handed down to someone named Enzo Martinelli back when she was a lawyer.
Wow. So her personal pain bled into her professional life.
It suggests that, yeah, a painful reminder of how our own unaddressed stuff can, unintentionally hurt others around us.
But it's not all bleak, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned she forms other connections outside of these strained family ties.
Yes. And that's one of the really hopeful parts of the book, I think. It shows she's not entirely closed off. There's her godson, Harry Landy. He's kind of troubled himself, but their bond gives her a sense of purpose, pulls her out of her own head a bit.
Yeah.
And then, completely unexpectedly, she strikes up this late-life romance.
Really? At 73?
Yeah, with her elderly neighbor, Theodor Lubeck. He's German-Jewish. Adds another layer of history and depth. Their connection is described as tender, intellectual.
That sounds lovely.
It really is. It offers her a chance for emotional healing, companionship, something she probably never thought she'd find again. These relationships outside the immediate family wreckage are like lifelines. They help her find solace, connection, maybe even rediscover parts of herself.
And alongside this emotional journey, the book also tackles aging, right? The physical side of it, and that fear of losing independence.
Definitely. It's handled really smartly, very relatably. Her macular degeneration, her declining eyesight, it's not just a plot point. It's this daily frustration. You feel it with her. Every letter she struggles to write, every book she can't quite focus on. Her world, once defined by her sharp mind and words, is literally blurring.
That must be terrifying for someone like her.
Exactly. And her fear of moving to a retirement village, it's palpable. It's not just about changing a dress. It symbolizes losing control, losing her autonomy, being confined.
Yeah, I can understand that.
You really feel her digging her heels in, trying desperately to hold on to her agency, her space, even as her body starts to betray her in small ways. It tacks into that universal anxiety about getting older, doesn't it?
Sybil's story is one of resilience, clearly.
Yeah.
But Virginia Evans, the author, her story of getting this book published is pretty remarkable too, isn't it? This wasn't her first attempt.
Not even close. That's what's so inspiring. The Correspondent is actually her 9th novel.
9. Why?
Yeah. She calls it her writer origin story. She spent, get this, 20 years querying.
20 years. Querying means sending it out, trying to get an agent or publisher.
Exactly. 20 years of writing books, sending out proposals, manuscripts, facing rejection after rejection, often just form letters, no feedback. It's a notoriously tough process.
Soul-crushing, I imagine.
Totally. And she apparently had multiple near misses, deals that fell through at the last minute. Heartbreaking stuff. For her to keep going after all that, it's just extraordinary persistence.
20 years. That's incredible belief in her work. What kept her going, do you think? And the story about how she wrote this specific book.
It really points to a deep, fundamental need to tell stories, I think. And yeah, the writing process for this novel is almost legendary now. She wrote the entire thing in a closet.
In a closet.
Literally, a small, dark master closet in her townhouse. She'd write between 4:30 and 7:30 in the morning.
While raising kids and working full-time.
Yep, small kids, full-time job. And this was during COVID, a time she described as being personally quite sad for her.
Wow, that's dedication.
Isn't it? It just shows the lengths people go to, often in these hidden moments, these squeezed-in hours, to bring something creative into the world. It adds another layer to the book, knowing that backstory.
And there's another layer, too, isn't there, about the theme of child loss. It was already there, but something personal happened.
Yes. While the theme was in early drafts, Evans experienced something profound when close friends of hers lost their son, Wade. She said that experience deeply changed how she approached that part of the story, making it much more raw, more authentic.
You can feel that, I think.
Yeah.
That connection must have infused it with such honesty.
Absolutely. It moved it from maybe a plot point to something truly felt, truly heart-wrenching. Evans has said her hope for the book, really, was to tell some very normal person's story and show that every person's story is interesting.
I like that.
Yeah. And her ultimate motivation, she says, is for you, the reader, to feel the freedom to forgive yourselves, to accept that, it's okay, you're just a person and you did your best. That message of self-compassion really comes through Sybil's journey.
So bringing it all together, why does this book seem to resonate so much? Critics call it memorable, compelling, wise, heartbreaking, a masterful character study. They say Sybil is both unique and relatable. How does it manage both?
That's the sweet spot, isn't it? I think it's because the specifics of Sybil's life, her sharp wit, her specific regrets, her unique way of corresponding, they tap into these really universal human experiences. We all grapple with aging, don't we? With regret, with that deep need for connection.
True.
Sybil's journey towards forgiving herself, towards reconciliation, it speaks to something fundamental in all of us, that need to make peace with our pasts, find a way to move forward.
Like Evan said.
Exactly, like Evan said. Everybody in some way is the same, that they have joy and success and hope, and they also have sorrow and loss. This book captures that shared humanity beautifully. You see yourself reflected in Sybil's very particular life.
And Sybil herself, she has that line about life's strange balance of miraculous and mundane. The book really shows that, doesn't it?
Perfectly. It finds the extraordinary within the ordinary. These profound emotional journeys, these unexpected connections happening within the rhythm of daily life, seen through the lens of someone who's lived a long, complicated life.
It's a great reminder that our own lives are probably full of those stories, too, if we just stop and look.
Definitely, if we pay attention.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe a final thought for you to consider. Think about the correspondence of your own life. And I don't just mean actual letters or emails, but maybe the unsent messages, the unspoken truths, the connections that are maybe waiting to be made or perhaps repaired.
That's a powerful thought.
What stories might be waiting to unfold in your own, winter season, or just through unexpected turns life takes?
Yeah. And the novel does subtly remind us, doesn't it, that Reaching out in correspondence is really one of the original forms of civility in the world.
Hmm.
Maybe just the act of putting thoughts down, or even just saying them out loud to someone. Maybe it holds more power than we think sometimes, for healing, for building bridges.
Absolutely. So we really encourage you to check out the correspondent, reflect on these themes: forgiveness, identity, connection. It's a reminder of the strength we can find no matter what life throws our way.